ask you a question. If you could control your dreams, would you take the leap to fly and travel the universe, learning more about yourself or manifest things in your life? While instead we are dreaming of weird things that most of the time don't much have meaning to us. Or maybe we're just not aware of the meaning. What if we tell you that absolutely every human being that has this hidden ability, which if mastered, could allow us to control our dreams completely and enable us to use our dreaming hours to explore and learn more about ourselves, heal, and dive deeper down the rabbit hole of our imaginations? So today, we talk about dialing in your sleep in order to better activate the dream machine of higher realm exploration. The topic of sleep is a passion of mine and Gary's, and I've always been fascinated by sleep and the ability to maximize its effectiveness and utilize it to problem solve, expand possibilities, and the use of cognitive influence. If you ask any top CEO what their number one productivity priority is, sleep. Ask any top athlete what their number one performance priority is, sleep. So Gary, this is definitely one that's going to spill over into Saturdays down the rabbit hole. Not to
Yeah, I
mention the
think so.
master lab that we're creating. This is going to be something else. I
Yeah,
I was putting this together yesterday, and I had to stop and go back and say, "This is way too long," because I it just started
so much.
flowing.
I hear you, man. There's so much. It's like, a grain of sand on a beach, right?
Oh
We're
man, you got that
just
right. A drop in
exploring.
the
It's
ocean.
such a minimum component of what we could do with it. And that's going to be a fun master lab to do and participate in. So welcome everyone to episode 58 of Hacking the Infinite Matrix, where every week we bring content to those who are not afraid to explore what it means to unplug from a reality that seems to have so many people completely dependent on a preconditioned system that in many cases is trapping them into thinking they are less than they actually are. Our mission is to bring more choices of empowerment, abundance, wholeness, and freedom into the mix, to bring forth the possibility that you are greater than you think you are, and to allow your creator within to emerge. We do this every week by preparing you for entry into life's master laboratory where you can fully test the boundaries of what you and others consider to be reality. At least for a window of time, let's consider the possibility that all you ever knew was not what it appears to be. What if we could expose a reality where it's infinitely more? This is episode 58, Crossing the Threshold Between Dreams and Reality. You're going to want to stick around today as we peel back the thin veil that separates dreams and reality. And like I said, it's like a grain of sand, right? Where there's so many thin veil layers. And then later in the stream, I've got a super cool and special visualization process for you. Some might even call it a trance formation of sorts. It designed to help you to establish a common ground for your conscious and your unconscious to play, explore, and communicate on many levels. So let's get going today by checking where everyone is from. We are streaming on a few platforms as usual, and we don't always see the comments that come in from some of them. So we do apologize ahead of time if we miss your questions or comments during the stream, but we do go back and do our best to respond or reply to everyone after we're done. So feel free at any time to add comments, questions, and throw in emojis, contribute and participate as much as you can. So let's try something different again today. Instead of just throwing out where you're chiming in from, Let's try something different. Tell us about a type of food or drink that comes from your particular country or city. Okay, a food or drink that it's known for. All right, and then let's have some fun with that. And as you guys are reading, as everyone is reading the comments from others, see if you can go and guess where they're from just from that food or drink. And let's have a little bit of fun and interaction within the community here. Let's get to know more about our community on these streams so that we're building a stronger bond of people of like mind. And because ultimately that's a large reason why we're doing this, so we have people who come together who want to explore things and connect on a different level, all right, in whatever formats we're capable of doing it today. So dreams, as Ross has said, have been a topic that both Ross and I have been deeply interested in for quite some time. I know that when I started off on my dream and sleep research, it was when I was, getting my hypnosis certifications, and I came across a pile of proverbs, if you will, or sayings about dreams that came from all over the place. So to kind of accommodate for our global market that we reach on a weekly basis, I thought I'd dig up an old journal and then bring a few of them from those study notes. And to be honest, I don't know how accurate or even how the origins of these came about, but I'll trust that the resources that I got them from back then actually had some references. So let's start with Tibet. A saying from Tibet is, "I'll tell you my dream, you might forget it. If I act on my dream, perhaps you'll remember it. But if I involve you in it, it becomes your dream too."
That's a nice one. Actually, there's a
Right?
variation of that from Benjamin Franklin.
Mm,
So I wonder. So
wonder.
yeah,
Maybe he took a trip to Tibet, or the other
so
way around. Who
maybe
knows?
we go in that direction.
One from Africa is dreams are
Dreams.
voices from ancestors. Another one from Nigeria is thoughts and dreams are the foundation of our being.
Love it.
Yiddish is golden dreams make men wake hungry. New York, in love and dreams, all things are possible. From the Hopi, all dreams spin out from the same web. And this actually implies one source and even a holographic connected nature to dreams, which we talk about in the Master Lab process, right? Mongolia, men and women sleep on the same pillow, but they have different dreams. Germany, he who sleeps in a silver bed has golden dreams.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay.
And Japan, yesterday's flowers are today's dreams. So some things to think about. Do you guys have any sayings about dreams that you grew up with? Go ahead and drop them in the comments and let us know while Ross goes over some really cool information about dreams and sleep today. And then I'll jump in with the induction after he's done. So we'll just take a look. We got some food. So schnitzels, that's a cutlet. There we go. And then we got orange juice. And lime pie.
Wesley says, I was told you don't want your dreams to come true. Well,
ooh, interesting.
yeah. All right.
Interesting. All right. And from dreams to reality, imagination, Demetrius. Yes.
Very good.
Cool.
All right.
I'll keep an eye on them as they go, Ross. So you guys just keep adding them in. It's just to let us know some different quotes and have some fun around, dreams and, what they could possibly mean, or just some, folk tales or whatever. Let's just hear what's going on from around the world and add boiled peanuts, pimento cheese. Interesting. All right, go ahead,
But
Ross. You can.
I can just spend all day looking at these comments. We're good.
You know.
All righty, all righty. So, from an evolutionary perspective, the fact that sleep exists in almost all animal species, despite the fact that it creates vulnerability and it takes time away from feeding or procreating, is a strong indication that it is a naturally fundamental to our overall well-being. Science still hasn't figured it out. That is why we sleep. Although a huge percentage of the species on this beautiful blue marble all require sleep. And to date, there are only 5 examples of those that don't sleep. And why this is still a mystery. And believe you me, science is studying those 5 species. But for this segment, we're only going to be focusing on the human species. And even after decades of research, the exact reason why we sleep remains one of the most enduring and intriguing mysteries in health science. This doesn't mean researchers haven't discovered more and more information, just that they haven't figured out the glue for it all, the why, and purely from a research point of view. And as we'll be discussing other reasons. And what I can definitely tell you is that the physical process of sleep is purely a chemical driven process. Neurochemicals to wake you up and neurochemicals to put you to sleep. Before we can show you how to hack your sleep and your dreams, you need to understand how it all works. In humans, sleep appears to be critical to both physical and mental development in babies and children and young adults. And in adults, a lack of sleep has been associated with a wide range of negative health consequences, including cardiovascular problems, a weakened immune system, higher risk of obesity and type 2 diabetes, impaired thinking and memory, and mental health problems like depression and anxiety. And prolonged lack of sleep can be mentally disabling, and insufficient dream states ultimately can lead to insanity or even death. These diverse ramifications of sleep deprivation offer a strong support to the view that sleep doesn't just have one biological purpose, but in fact, through its complexity, it's an important contributor to the proper functioning of nearly all of the systems of the body. While there is much that is to be learned about the intricacies of how sleep works, existing research sheds light on the mechanics of what happens in the brain and the body during sleep. This knowledge reveals how sleep is connected to numerous elements of physical, emotional, and mental health and provides insights about how people can get better sleep. This knowledge is imperative to put action if your intention is to maximize all the abilities that you have access to. Okay, so is everybody with me? Everybody paying attention? Because it would be very ironic if you fell asleep while I was explaining to you how to sleep better. So don't embarrass me, okay? All right, we're good to go. All right, this is extensive. If you have some pen and paper, I would take notes because I'm going to drop some little hacks for you. Again, all of this is just to simply maximize your ability so your body can sleep better, which is going to allow it and allow you to dream better. So before the body can fall into a high productive deep sleep, the bedroom needs to be made as sleep friendly as possible. The first requirement is the light factor. I'm not talking about the darkness of the room, but I will be. This portion of the light factor is your exposure to light before bed. Understand your body's mechanisms were designed 300,000 years ago when there was no artificial light available. Modern times has made light available 24/7. And although it's a critical factor in advancing humanity's ability to expand, it comes with a biological setbacks. primarily the interruption of our circadian rhythms. Even more recent times has brought on the onslaught of computers and tablets and phones and the light that they project into our eyes. The blue light that the brain interprets as the sun rising, therefore, instructs the waking neurochemicals to release. This either prevents falling asleep or staying asleep. So you want to refrain from TVs and electronic devices at least 1 hour before bed. The second light factor is the lighting of your bedroom. A bedroom should be as dark as a cave. See where I'm going with here? Did I get that? Okay. Any lighting that is on while trying to sleep should be in the amber to red zone. Why? Because it represents the light of the sun setting. This signals to the brain to begin to release sleep chemicals. They did a study where participants were asleep, and researchers shined a small laser beam on their legs, not where their eyes could absorb the light. Their brain readings reacted to the stimulus. And what this tells us is that the entire body can see or sense light. So your bedroom should be pitch black. Another factor is the temperature of the bedroom. And this has been keeping marriage counselors in business for decades, I'll tell you. The bedroom should be cool as possible. Now, everyone's idea of cool is different, but the cooler that you can be, the deeper of sleep and more restful you'll experience. Also, on a side note, your bed covers should be made in layers and made of natural fibers for better breathability and temperature adaptation. But that's why we sleep with levels of covers. You keep your bedroom cooler, and then you moderate with the covers. Okay, so you also want to eliminate the use of any artificial sleep aids, sleeping pills, sleep pain relievers, etc. There are several natural teas and roots or minerals that can help, but be sure to cycle through them as to avoid any type of dependency. So this is what happens when you sleep. Within a minute after falling asleep, notable changes start to affect both the brain and the body. Body temperature drops, brain activity ramps down, and heart rate and respiration slow as well. And not surprisingly, the body's energy expenditure is lowered during sleep. Then your body's internal clock, which is controlled by an area of the brain called the supramonastic nucleus, located in the hypothalamus.
Say that 3 times.
Spell it. This area is sensitive to signals of dark and light. The optic nerve in your eye senses the light of dusk and prepares for when darkness comes at night, and sends messages to the pineal gland, which triggers the release of melatonin. We've all heard of that, which makes you feel sleepy and ready for bed. This is a prep as far as a neurotransmitter. Depending on your sensitivity, in the evening, here's a little experiment to do. Okay, if you're really tuned in, walk from a brightly lit room into like a pitch black room, like a bathroom with no lights, nothing. You should feel a definitive shutdown beginning in the brain as it's responding to its cave. You literally just feel just kind of, because it's like, oh, it's nighttime. I'm going to start shutting down. So other sleep neurotransmitters will then activate, like GABA, nitric oxide, hypocretin, and then there's acetylcholine, which at the strongest, acetylcholine itself is at its strongest both during your REM sleep and also while you're awake. So it seems to help your brain keep information gathered while you're awake and then sets that information as you sleep. What I mean by that is it sets it in your memory. So if you study or learn new information in the hours before bed, sleeping on it can help you remember it. And it's important to recognize, though, that what happens during sleep is dynamic. Over the course of one night, you actually progress through multiple sleep cycles, each of which is going to last 70 to 120 minutes, averaging about 90-minute cycles, with all being composed of separate sleep stages. So these sleep stages are fundamental to how sleep works. This is so important. Pay attention. This is really, really important. There are 4 stages of sleep, with the first 3 stages falling into the category of non-REM sleep. They're preparatory stages. The 4th stage is REM, rapid eye movement, REM sleep. So 4 stages equal 1 cycle of sleep, and with an average of 4 to 5 cycles per night. In stage 1 of a cycle, you're just dozed off and started to transition to stage 2, which involves further slowing of activity of the body and the brain. It's much easier to be woken during these early stages of sleep cycle as well. Stage 3 is the deepest part of non-REM. In this stage, your muscles and body relax even more, and brain waves slow to a clear pattern of slowed activity that is markedly different from the waking brain activity. It is believed that deep sleep plays an important role in recuperation of the body as well as effective thinking and memory. Stage 4 is the stage of REM. During this time, brain activity picks up significantly, and most of the body, pay attention, most of the body, except the eyes and the breathing muscles, experience temporary paralysis. The reason for this is so that you don't act out your dreams physically. Although dreams can happen during any stage, the most intense dreaming takes place during REM. And then REM sleep stage is believed to be, oh, REM is so cool. REM to be is the essentials for the brain, enabling key functions like memory and learning. And as the night goes on, it's normal to spend a greater percentage of time in REM sleep, with most of it occurring in the second half of the night. The structure of a person's sleep stages and cycles is known as their sleep architecture. While deep sleep and REM sleep involve more profound changes in activity levels, experts believe that each stage plays a part in a healthy sleep architecture that generates quality sleep. And this is where many experience sleep failure. Because as you sleep, your body has 188 processes to complete without exception. The brain has just basically a checklist. Process 1, process 2, process 3, process 4. These processes are critical to the quality of your next day. For example, one newly discovered process is all of your spinal fluid is pumped up into the brain, where it's used to clean out dead cells, toxins, and overall refresh the brain. So when you wake up with that foggy, can't focus feeling, it generally indicates that you didn't reach this cycle of sleep. Now, missing this once or twice is annoying, but on a continual basis can be devastating. As I said, you sleep in cycles, and during those cycles, the body brain has that checklist of processes. If your sleep is interrupted and you come to consciousness, you have now disrupted the cycle and its processes. So when you go back to sleep, your body doesn't pick up where it left off. It's got to start over again. So to date, there's much that is still unknown about the intricate processes that control sleep. But researchers have discovered some neurotransmitters that appear to be important cogs in this machinery of sleep and wakefulness. And besides the list of cycles you experience in sleep, waking has its own neurochemical recipe to activate the ascending reticular activating system. Norepinephrine, serotonin, histamine, dopamine, all of these are always still in your body, but the sleep neurotransmitters inhibit these transmitters because these are the ones that wake us up and keep us going, along with cortisol. Cortisol's in there too. So with all this in mind, here's the rub. Upon waking, as soon as you wake up, the body will immediately begin to activate your sleep drive and create a buildup of sleep pressure by releasing yet another chemical called adenosine. This builds up when you're awake and continues until we fall asleep the following night. Can't win for losing. This is what we call the body's, it's kind of like a built-in guarantee that you're going to get some sleep. So that's how important nature has developed this process. It's just like, I'm not going to let this body continue. I'm going to force it to have to go to sleep because it's that important. So that's it. As I said earlier, this modern era has a few hiccups, and it's really messing up nature's beautiful dance of neurochemicals. You know, the light aspect. We don't just work, foraging during the day. We work 24/7. Everything is constantly going. So these numerous chemicals and hormones are involved in the mechanics of sleep-wake homeostasis and the circadian alerting system. Shifting between wakefulness and sleep creates changes in thousands of neurons in the brain in a complex signaling system that generates specific reactions in the body. This process prepares your biological vessel for yet another extraordinary journey into a realm of possibilities and wonder and dreams. When we access this state, it's possible to access higher levels of the mind, which are otherwise inaccessible. While dreaming, we are in direct contact with our many levels of consciousness. And it's possible to create and change programs and belief systems from the deepest levels of our minds. It's the same as changing the programs and settings in your computer directly from the control panel. So Nikola Tesla once said, every night, and sometimes during the day, when alone, I would start on my journey and see new places, cities, countries. I would live there, meet people, and make friendships and acquaintances. And however unbelievable, it is the fact that they were just as dear to me as actual life and not a bit less intense in their manifestations. This I did constantly. And when my thoughts turned seriously to inventions, then I observed to my delight that I could visualize with the greatest facility. I needed no models, drawings, or experiments, as I could picture them all in my mind.
Sounds like a metaverse.
Exactly. And even Einstein said that his dream of riding on a beam of light sparked his idea for the equations of the theory of relativity. It seemed that he constantly questioned if reality was real, or was it just an illusion? And usually these questions are normal for those who have experienced lucid dreams. But since Einstein didn't officially announce that he was a lucid dreamer, then we can speculate that he used this amazing capacity to unleash his full brain potential. And so let me ask you all before I end this segment, what do you think all of these people have in common? Stephen King, Srinivasa Ramajan, Leonardo DiCaprio, John Lennon, the Wachowskis, James Cameron, Thomas Edison, Christopher Nolan, and of course, my all time favorite, Salvador Dali. What do they have in common? They're all masters of their crafts, and each rose to the top of their game. And above all, each one broke the traditional paradigms of their profession with huge, expansive thinking. And now, with Gary's help, it's your turn.
Yeah, and so I mean, on Saturday, as well as in our dream Master Lab Dream seg- segment, we will be tapping into the lucid dreaming stuff. We'll be tapping into maybe even talking about poking some holes in some belief systems you might have around dreams, and even talking a little bit more about some of the quote unquote research that's done on dreams. Because while I agree with some of them I do have questions with, as far as, there's a lot of variables. That's another rabbit hole, though. So Saturday morning, if you want
Let's
to come and join us for that, I'll give you the link and everything. Actually, let's do. So the process we're going to do today is called the Caterpillar's Dream Garden. Go ahead and get into a comfortable position where you won't be disturbed for about 15 or 20 minutes. Ross, I'm going to move you out and bring the screen in. So let's do that. Let's do that. And bring this. All right, and then we'll start with me, and then I'll actually pop out as well. And let's do that. All right, so go ahead and get into a comfortable position where you won't be disturbed for about 15 or 20 minutes, as I said. You can start with your eyes open or your eyes closed. It's totally up to you. Doesn't really matter. If you want to keep them open the whole time, if you want to close them and keep them closed, doesn't really matter, okay? But if you are driving a car or operating machinery, stop, okay? Do not do this process right now. It does have trance language, okay? And if you follow along while doing those things, it could cause problems. So please do not do it while driving operating machinery. If you are driving operating machinery, then come back to the replay. And yes, there are replays. If you don't know, it's hackingtheinfinitymatrix.com/replays. I don't know if I have let me see if I have that set up in here. I thought I did. I'll throw it up on the screen. There it is. Okay. So you can get the replays there. And I will be clipping out this segment of the induction so you can have it alone as well. So you'll be able to get all this and all other replays are at that link. You can get it. All right. So go ahead and get yourself in a relaxed position, undisturbed. I'm going to start some music and get my image out of here so that we got that. And I will stop that. Beautiful. All right. Yeah, if you have a good point there, Demetrius, if you have headphones and you can do that, also a good idea to do that to kind of isolate the experience and get even more out of it as well. All right, so here we go. Today, I invite your conscious as well as your unconscious mind into a hypnotic story for a change. Or some would say for a transformation. So there is no need to focus consciously on what I'm saying right now, or even later. In fact, whenever your mind chooses to focus is completely okay. So signify. It can signify that you are giving your unconscious mind permission to take over and enjoy this journey. Go ahead and take a deep breath in. Hold it, hold it, and exhale. That's it. and just let your body relax even deeper. So you may find yourself on the threshold between a dreamy place and wherever you can just enjoy the benefits of this powerful process. Because once upon a time, there was a distant land, and in that distant land there lived a caterpillar down deep in the rich green valley. A light fog was slowly covering all that could be seen, and all that could be heard was an inner voice. Or perhaps it was an inner awareness. It was like a bedtime story being told in the middle of nowhere. And you know where nowhere is. That realm where dreams may be realized in the real eyes of the soul. And all the creatures began to rest comfortably. Just after looking up and seeing a butterfly flapping its wings and leaving its own unique trail as it wanders in and out of the soothing fog, remembering back to a time of future transformation. From the thing it was to the thing it is, and now always will be, that inner awareness. That things need to change, so fresh in its mind, remembering back, thinking what it was that needed to change, and started a countdown to a new beginning with the anticipation of a wonderful journey, the eagerness of making sure everything is done just right, for a change was about to happen, as it always does. Even though there was a tendency to go down through the valley of repair, even skipping and skipping by, realizing that it's already that time to think about those things that lay low beneath your feet. A time before 9, where the tendency was to naturally nourish the right and the left sides of your brain, wondering if it's now time to think about the things you ate in order to cultivate the thought that thinking right is the only thinking left. Especially when you find yourself counting, one way or another, the days of the week. They turn into days of the strong as you master the messages of that lucky number. You know, every day, in every way, you just get better, better, and better. And at night, you must go down and complete the cycles, to relax and drift until that time when the warmly lit sky began to present the magnificence of this new day's awakening. Because in this valley, it is only a matter of time before the light would return. As the shadows crept their way into the dreams of the transforming caterpillar. Some would say that it was more accurate to say a butterfly in disguise. And we can only wonder how it might feel to relax, to imagine, to dream, to suddenly or gradually recognize those feelings. That's right. Those inner messages that are left in that new developed language. And all those treasures have been deeply seated here. The suggestions here. The declarations here. The guidance for wonderful journeys deeply rooted here. Many things this caterpillar could digest within the infinity matrix, diving deep and feeling that inner certainty of transformations. As a radiant being building the bridge between dreams and reality. With such an intense desire for the fruits to ripen, the days turning into strong promises evolving into manifestations only before dreamed of. And thinking all that was needed was past generations of knowledge. For you see, the butterfly conditioning had gone back many years in this caterpillar's family. Parents, grandparents, great-great-great-grandparents. And because of this, perhaps you too would have chosen this path. After all, many people get into traditions that create expectations, wants, desires, needs, and realize there is a time to break free from the past. Working all day, thinking about a garden as a common ground between realities all evening, even dreaming dreams which would sprout from the depth of the mind, allowing the shadows to blend into dreams, the garden dreams, preparing the soil, fertilizing the ground, opening the ground, planting the seeds, water, water, water at the right times throughout the day, reaching down and knowing exactly how to stop when checking for weeds, pulling them out from the roots, because that's how to care for your garden, the caterpillar would say. And in the lesson to new butterflies in disguise, this lesson was taught. Once the seeds are planted, your work has just begun. You need to protect and care for those seeds. You need to allow them to grow their roots. Even When you do not see their stems, you need to trust that there is a power greater than you, which will create the path to the destination. And as the lesson continued, in the background, there was another gardener whose garden was envied even by the teacher. There was greater things to look forward to, beautiful things in the future, powerful experiences of flexibility. It was exciting to keep those things at the forefront of the mind, having the foresight to appreciate, to absorb, to learn, and to change. To do those things that need to be done. Oh, what wonderful colors, what sweet sounds from the birds, which always chose this as their resting grounds. What an aroma! Which flowers did those fragrances journey from? As the warm, soft breeze caressed the tops of the flowers, causing them to sway gently from side to side. Even the picturesque image of the sun's rays filtering down through the leaves. In the past, those old memories were left in the caterpillar's mind, the thoughts of how this was that. My garden is not what I want it to be. Suddenly, there was a calling to feel free, making agreements to be free from the limitations of the past. So the butterfly in disguise went to the gardener, and the two would consider the many ways to ask quality questions, to initiate childlike curiosity. And instinctively, the gardener said, "So you've come to see me about new choices in this place where choices converge. As we joyfully remove any excess weeds, it is clear to me that you have set your environment. Your behaviors are aligned with your truth. For you can unlock your hidden capabilities. Because people who do not would not work so hard. All this is true, and I have questioned with questions to ask you too." And their communication went to a deeper level as the one became a teacher of inspiring knowledge and felt that both eyes and ears were ready for new learnings. Do you believe you deserve it? Are you able to connect with your true garden inside and nourish it? These and other questions lingered in the teacher's mind, in the days, in the months, and below the surface, wonderful changes were occurring. The ground was being stirred. It seemed as though a new foundation was being built. And when all the dust had settled, a celebration of how wonderful it was to realize that this treasure has been won. There was an inner knowing that this concealed butterfly is deserving of all the fruits of success. and was willing to consistently journey to the inner garden to nourish it, and perhaps become a teacher itself. It was like the seeds which were planted, the teacher told the class. I cared for the garden. I learned to have fun and enjoy life. I learned to let nature take its course and not force things. I realized that once the seeds are planted, there is a power greater than which I determined its destiny. And all I could do is weed the necessary weeds. Water when necessary, and just relax and collect the fruits of my labor. And the butterfly self rested as the light of the sun ventured down past the horizon. A new adventure was awaiting, someplace else entirely now, in your own time, in your own way, a kind of drifting down, perhaps even a drifting back into that place of quiet calmness. It's like an effortless awareness of many different things, the sound of a voice, the positioning of the arms, perhaps the entire body, sometimes seeming to float in time, in space, in that place, in the middle of nowhere. And you know, nowhere is, taking you to your dream garden, planting those seeds in their own time, quickly, in their own way, becoming a journey led by the mind's eye, much like the way you know you have eyes given to see the world around you. The caterpillar knew that there was also an inner eye. Many called it the mind's eye. Some even say it can see images, process thoughts, even as you dream so deeply. This mind's eye, can you imagine, has an eyelid, acting as eyelids do after a time. That eyelid closes gently down, becoming heavy, so heavy it wants to close slowly down. And it only allows in positive thoughts, positive images, even positive ideas, so they can penetrate your mind perfectly in that space, between space, where nowhere exists. Somehow, the seeding ground for new thoughts, new actions, new gardens, new horizons. Because even in the deepest of gardens, the caterpillar rests in its cocoon so that it can begin breaking free, to leap forward without looking back, to wonder where some of that countdown to transformation had gone. Yearning to stretch and spread some wings, to fly to the heavens above, leaving trails of possibilities for the caterpillars below. That moment when it's time to rise and meet the light, being warmly accepted in this new existence, opening up and experiencing this new paradise where the butterfly returns and settles so peacefully before the next journey begins or ends. And before you know it, a certain time has passed, and your awareness comes back to the sound of my voice, to the words that I say, even while a part of your mind lingers on the words I don't say. All this awareness and pondering brings you back to your breath, with a natural urge to just go ahead and take a deep awakening breath. And as you exhale, begin to wonder what you will take with you into your dreams tonight. And even more importantly, what you will discover as you practice crossing the threshold between your dreams and your reality. Go ahead and take another deep breath. Open your eyes and stretch into the new cellular formation right here, right now, coming back into what's left in this live stream today. Coming back, more awake, all the way back now. Oops, there we go. All right.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay, so that's our stream for today. All those of you that are back in consciousness here with us, just go ahead and let me know in the comments. How was that for you? Just let us know.
Demetrius is saying, I feel fully
Well,
revitalized and rejuvenated. Fantastic.
nice, nice, nice. Oh, yeah, he's got a nice big long comment there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Appreciate that, Demetrius. Very cool. Another epic live today. Great. Awesome. So I will be editing out just that segment for those of you who wish to listen to it more than once, which I would suggest. We will have it on our replay page again at hackingtheinfinitematrix.com/replays. It'll be there in the next day or so. So just be a little patient while I do the editing. And that's our stream for today. So thank you so much for joining us on our streams every week. Remember, you can also have more extended conversations and interaction with us on Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. PST on Down the Rabbit Hole segment. All you need to do is go to, let me throw it up again. It's rolling on the bottom there. Yeah. So hackingtheinfinitematrix.com/rabbit hole to register for the link to join us. The last few weeks, the conversations have been super amazing and all over the place.
Yeah, really.
So come and join us. We'll be happy. You'll be happy that you did. And you might just get hooked. I mean, we're starting to notice, there's definitely more and more people coming on regularly and joining and contributing. And it's growing. So now it's your turn if you're here listening and if you haven't already joined us in those live streams, those events. So it's Saturday morning at 8 a.m. PST, and that's our stream. So till next time, everyone, be well. Remember, we dare you to be exceptional. Implement these hacks. Use the tools we give you and master the art of designing your reality. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you next week.